Good evening, and welcome to Daily Top Bulletin, bringing you the top 10 current affairs headlines in the most simple, clear, and exam-focused format for UPSC and competitive exams. Every headline is carefully selected to keep your preparation ahead of the competition. Let's begin with today's top 10 news.
5th July, 2026. Top 10 current affairs headlines, 5th July, 2026. 1. India-Israel Bilateral Investment Agreement, BIA, comes into effect. What happened? The landmark India-Israel Bilateral Investment Agreement, BIA, signed in September 2025, officially came into effect, introducing pivotal shifts from India's standard model investment treaties to attract robust West Asian capital. Key facts to remember. Departure from 2015 Model BIT. Unlike India's 2015 Model Bilateral Investment Treaty, which strictly excluded portfolio investments, the Israel Pact expands protection to cover shares, stocks, equity holdings, qualifying corporate bonds, and loans. Arbitration timeline. It allows foreign investors to seek international investor-state dispute arbitration after pursuing domestic legal remedies for just 3 years, down from 5 years stipulated in the 2015 Model BIT. Strategic alignment. This framework closely mirrors the flexibility given in the 2024 India-UAE Investment Pact, signaling India's deliberate policy shift toward an investor-friendly ecosystem. 2. Slowing CASA growth pushes Indian banks towards expensive wholesale funding. What happened? Highlighting structural concerns also raised in the RBI's recent financial stability report, Indian commercial banks are grappling with a steep drop in low-cost deposit growth, altering baseline liquidity strategies. Key facts to remember. Core definitions. CASA refers to high liquidity, low-interest funds in current accounts and savings accounts, whereas term deposits represent fixed-period commitments, like FDs, requiring higher payout rates. The structural shift. The share of CASA in total banking deposits has dropped sharply to around 39%, down from its peak of % in FY22, while term deposits have escalated to over 61%. Impact. To maintain a widening credit-to-deposit ratio, banks are aggressively relying on costlier certificate of deposits, CDs, and bulk wholesale funds, making them highly vulnerable to sudden rate hikes or external liquidity shocks. 3. India's first commercially produced matcha tea sold by Assam estate. What happened? Breaking away from centuries of conventional orthodox and CTC processing, a prominent tea estate in Assam successfully manufactured and commercialized India's first indigenous matcha tea. Key facts to remember. Botanical context. Matcha is a finely ground, premium powder made from the shade-grown leaves of the Camellia sinensis plant. The process: the plants are deliberately shaded for 3 to 4 weeks before harvest to block sunlight. This process drastically increases L-theanine and chlorophyll levels. Chemical profile. The high concentration of L-theanine gives matcha its distinct savory, umami flavor profile and prevents the leaves from converting amino acids into bitter catechins, providing sustained, jitter-free energy. 4. Major eviction drive launched to clear encroachments in Layakawa Wildlife Sanctuary. What happened? The Assam State Administration initiated a massive multi-agency eviction drive to clear hundreds of bighas of illegal agricultural and residential encroachments within the ecologically sensitive Layakawa Wildlife Sanctuary. Key facts to remember. Geography. Located in the Nagyan district of Assam, it forms an integral part of the Layakawa-Burachipori ecosystem and acts as a vital wildlife corridor connecting Kaziranga National Park to Orang National Park. Flora and fauna. It is primarily characterized by alluvial grasslands and tropical semi-evergreen forests. It is highly celebrated for protecting the Great Indian one-horned rhinoceros, Royal Bengal tigers, and Asiatic water buffaloes. Avian diversity. The sanctuary hosts over 225 species of birds, including threatened species like the spot-billed pelican and the open-billed stork. 5 p.m. Modi highlights strategic diplomacy in weathering the West Asia crisis. What happened? In a national address, Prime Minister Narendra Modi declared that India successfully navigated the extreme geopolitical fallout of the recent West Asia conflict through proactive strategic decision-making, ensuring economic and supply chain insulation. Key facts to remember: maritime security. The prolonged tensions near the Strait of Hormuz, a vital choke point accounting for over 20% of global petroleum transits, severely impacted Indian seafaring crews and merchant vessels, requiring Indian Navy escort operations. Diplomatic countermeasures. India maintained its policy of strategic autonomy, combining humanitarian assistance with parallel diplomatic channels to protect its energy security and millions of Indian diaspora workers residing across the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC nations. 6. Scientists confirm human activity, not El Niño, driving unprecedented European heatwave cycles. What happened? Peer-reviewed meteorological assessments analyzing current extreme, hot night anomalies across the European continent confirmed that greenhouse gas-induced warming, rather than periodic oceanic cycles, is the primary driver of persistent heat stress. Key facts to remember: the phenomenon: average nighttime temperatures across impacted zones registered 1 degrees C to 4 degrees C higher than historical baselines, preventing nocturnal cooling and intensifying urban heat island effects. The mechanism: high-altitude atmospheric winds moving from the Sahara Desert transported dry, superheated air masses, which became trapped over the continent due to a weakened, looping jet stream, a clear indicator of Arctic amplification. 7. Pakistan Army helicopter crashes in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, POK. What happened? A military aviation disaster was reported in the rugged terrains of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, POK, as a Pakistan Army helicopter crashed and caught fire, resulting in the fatalities of all personnel on board. Key facts to remember: strategic context. The crash occurred along highly militarized high-altitude zones near the line of control, LOCI. Geographical challenges. The region is notorious for treacherous weather conditions, sudden air pocket drops, and challenging mountainous topology, which frequently present severe low-visibility risks for rotary-wing military aircraft operations. 8. Urban agglomerations widening gender pay gap despite high job creation. What happened? A new socioeconomic study tracking employment trends revealed a stark paradox. While major metropolitan Indian cities offer an exponentially higher volume of jobs to women, the absolute gender pay gap has systematically widened in these urban spaces. Key facts to remember: the core findings. The widening gap is largely attributed to the motherhood penalty, structural barriers in high-paying corporate tiers, and a disproportionate concentration of urban female workers in insecure gig or semi-formal service sectors. UPSC relevance. This data highlights critical challenges related to Sustainable Development Goal 5, gender equality, and Goal 8, decent work and economic growth, necessitating urban-centric policy interventions like subsidized public creches and transport safety. 9. IMD issues red alerts for West Bengal and Telangana amid deep depression formations. What happened? The India Meteorological Department, IMD, issued its highest level of color-coded weather warnings, a red alert, for multiple coastal and interior districts across West Bengal and Telangana due to a rapidly intensifying low-pressure system in the Bay of Bengal. Key facts to remember: meteorological system. The low-pressure trough over the Bay of Bengal is advancing toward the West Bengal-Odisha coast, threatening to develop into a deep depression with heavy to extremely heavy rainfall. Targeted zones. The highest risk alerts explicitly target South 24 Parganas and Purba Medinipur in West Bengal, along with 9 highly vulnerable districts in Telangana, including Adilabad and Nizamabad. 10. Ukraine strikes strategic Russian oil terminal in St. Petersburg. What happened? Escalating its long-range asymmetric warfare capabilities, Ukraine launched a successful drone strike targeting a major oil and energy export terminal located in St. Petersburg, deep within Russian territory. Key facts to remember. Geographical shift. This operation marks a major tactical shift, taking the air conflict far beyond the immediate frontline borders into Russia's critical economic Baltic gateway. Economic repercussions. The St. Petersburg terminal is a core hub for the transit of Russian refined petroleum products. Disruption to this maritime infrastructure impacts global oil logistics, directly influencing Brent crude price volatility and shadow tanker shipping routes.
Thank you for tuning in to Daily Top Bulletin. Stay updated, stay prepared, and stay ahead in your UPSC and competitive exam journey. We'll be back tomorrow with another set of the day's most important current affairs headlines. Until then, keep learning and keep growing. Good night, and see you in the next bulletin.